Generating traffic and sales can be a challenge for online merchants. But selling on the Walmart Marketplace puts your products in front of millions of customers who shop on Walmart.com. And right now, sellers who join Walmart Marketplace can save up to 50% on referral and fulfillment fees for the first 90 days. So get started today. Head over to marketplace.walmart.com/savings. That's marketplace.walmart.com/savings.
Welcome to E-Commerce Conversations, a weekly podcast from Practical E-Commerce, hosted by entrepreneur Eric Bandholz.
What is going on, Internet? Eric Bandholz back again with another E-Commerce Conversations. I hope all is going well on the other side of the Internet. On the other side of the table for me, Josh.
Haha, what's up, Eric?
What's up, man?
Not much, man. Thanks for having me on today.
Yeah. Excited to have you on, man. This is my first multi-species podcast ever.
We have Eva the chinchilla here with us today.
Yeah. Well, that's a good lead into what the heck do you do, man?
So my company is Quality Cage. We manufacture small and exotic animal cages and accessories and enrichment products for animals. For pet market and the veterinary world. So our main market is chinchilla, pet chinchilla owners. So we build a lot of cages, a lot of different products that cover all the needs for a chinchilla through its 10 to 20 year life.
Yeah, so I had never seen a chinchilla before. In fact, I probably had not even known that chinchilla is like, I've heard the name before, but
right.
It's like, you've got a chinchilla here.
Yep.
It's like furry as can be. Did you fall in love with the animal and then like that drove you? Or did you like buy the company and then you're like, oh, these are pretty cool animals?
Yeah, so I had no idea what a chinchilla was when I first got hired at Quality Cage and later bought it. And through that, like 9 months after buying it, we decided to, because it's a 58-year-old company now.
Oh, really?
It had thousands of products and we manufacture everything. So we do powder coating, woodworking, welding, CNC, machining. We even cut our own cardboard boxes when we can't get the right size boxes. So yeah, had no idea what a chinchilla was. Started learning about all the different animal markets. Chinchilla was the one that kept popping out because there was really no big competitors that was doing it, and the products weren't great. All the existing companies had pretty shitty products that were just built to make a profit, and nobody was actually solving the problem that chinchilla owners have. So after about 9 months in, we niched down completely into just chinchilla products.
All right. There's a lot that I want to unwrap with this whole story. So when did you buy the company?
So I bought the company in September 2015.
Okay, so that's going on
7
years.
Yeah, it'll be 8. Well, yeah, we're in year 7 right now.
Yeah, how long were you an employee there then? You said
3 months. I got hired to basically shut it down.
Oh, really?
And I was in food and beverage manufacturing before that. So I made beer, wine, cheese, did all of those for about 2 years each. Was trying to start my own businesses, had a culinary mushroom growing business on the side that I was selling to restaurants, and that was pretty fun. And so, yeah, I wanted to have a crack at something. What really drove it was I was trying to raise money from investors for my mushroom farm, which, like, looking back is a terrible idea, but it was cool.
I don't know. When you're on mushrooms, it sounds like a great idea.
It was pretty cool, though. Like, just, went down the pathway of talking to a bunch of investors back home in Idaho. One of them told me, go get 6 months managing a business and then I'll invest. And so I knew Quality Cage from my grandfather was the previous owner. And yeah, so literally like 3 days after that meeting, I moved to Portland, Oregon, took over the company, and yeah, it was kind of wild, actually. I had no experience managing people or business at all. Yeah. I was always in manufacturing of the cheese and the wine and stuff like that. So not a whole lot of customer facing, not a whole lot of managing employees. It was going from zero to a 55-year-old company was crazy.
Yeah. So I want to unwrap that because this is not a common story that I have. A lot of people start with zero and kind of grow up. So obviously you had the connection to your grandfather. Mm-hmm. I assume you have other like cousins and stuff. Like you're not the token grandchild, right?
Right. Yeah, a lot of kids.
Yeah. Like, did you think like he kind of like picked you out of the family, or how did you have that relationship to where you would show interest in?
Yeah. So never really got to spend too much time with Grandpa. Unfortunately, he has passed a few years back. Unfortunately, he basically. So the previous manager was doing some bad things,
like stealing, or just incompetent.
Both. All of the above. And so we got, family went over on a trip to see what was going on because, grandpa's in the hospital and, one of his assets is, something's going wrong with it. So we went over and just discovered everything that was going on, which was kind of wild. And yeah, so I went back home to Boise and then I was just like, let me have a whack at it.
Yeah.
So it was a full family decision.
Yeah. So like your parents went, you have brothers and sisters.
Yep.
Are they entrepreneurial as well? Or
no, I'm pretty much the only entrepreneurial guy in the family. Mom was always doing entrepreneurial type of things for sure, and she still does, but no employees, no business or anything like that. So,
and your parents weren't interested in?
No, I honestly wasn't in the beginning. The only reason why I was I was a cheesemaker. I didn't want to build animal cages. That was kind of weird. Big change. But yeah, so I went over because that investor told me if I go get 6 months managing a business that he'll invest in my mushroom farm. So it was losing 25 grand a month when I got there. And then within about 3 months, I got it to break even. The business had collected 55 years of process waste and mess, and it was just so poorly run.
How did you prioritize what got cut, and how did you get that back to break even?
Yeah, so man, it was so manufacturing efficiency is everything. There were so many things that were inefficient in that company that I just started ripping shit apart. To manufacture a sheet metal component, it goes through 7 different machines. Those 7 different machines were spread out around the warehouse.
Yeah.
So you do process 1 on this side of the warehouse, and then you'd have to go all the way to the other side of the warehouse to do process 2. And it logically hurt my brain.
Yeah.
It literally pained me. So I just started ripping shit apart and putting it back together in a more efficient way.
What were the reasons people said it was that way? Was it just simply we got a new piece of equipment, put it over there?
Yeah. Didn't even ask, to be honest, man.
Because sometimes people get defensive and they defend their decision. They're like, oh yeah, this is why it was done that way.
The previous employees, none of them had been there for very long. There was one guy who had been there for 25 years. This old Vietnamese guy named Tin spoke very little English, so he was my sole person to try and learn everything from too. Because I'd never done metal manufacturing.
Right.
I'd done some woodworking because my dad had some equipment in our garage as I was growing up, and once YouTube came out, started learning how to do some woodworking. So, but yeah, I didn't know how to weld, so I hopped on the welder and started messing around with that, and was really bad. And then within a week, I was really good. So yeah, I didn't really know where to start. I had some mentors that I would get in contact with, but
about how much if you don't mind me asking, how much revenue was the company doing?
It was doing $250,000 a year.
$250,000 a year.
Yeah.
Okay, and so it was losing $300K a year.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. The main priority for the family was get rid of it. And so, yeah, it was definitely in dire straits for sure.
Were you able to pull, did it still have cash savings? Was it your grandfather's savings or something?
I lived in the warehouse. I had no money myself. Showered at the gym. Didn't even have time to work out. I literally just went there to shower and go back to work. Yeah. And I don't think I paid myself. It was like $300 a month for 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
still had money to drink beer too.
Yeah. Well, in Portland, right? This kind of finds you. You were doing everything back then though, right?
Yeah. So I had to clean house with all the crew.
Who were their customers? Was it, business to business?
So when I got there, we had a showroom that had all of our, a good majority of our products in there, and people would come in. We would also go to rabbit shows, which, like AKC dog shows on TV where they're judging the animals. They have that for every animal. It's quite insane. It's super fantastic. I grew up wrestling, so I'd go to wrestling tournaments. Everybody's crazy. All the parents are going crazy. It's the same thing when people go to rabbit shows. These people bring 30 rabbits and they're just losing their mind trying to keep up. And it was pretty cool experience to learn about and understand. But yeah, so it was very little online sales, maybe $1,000 a month. Sold to some pet stores, some distributors, and then most of it was getting face-to-face with people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have all these animals. How do you focus on chinchillas?
It took me a while, actually. So the website when we got there was on ZenCart, and I was just like, I am not even learning this. I'm not even taking the time to learn it. So I scrapped that, started building a Shopify site. I listed 30, 40 products, and I was like, we have 2,000. This is going to take me 3 years. And so I was like, okay, we got to niche and specialize. Plus, manufacturing 2,000 different products that are all different and they all do low volume is insane. It's impossible.
Not quality, right?
Yeah, we would have had to like quadruple our prices to make that work with that many SKUs, but also training new people,
Right.
impossible. So I niched down by necessity. At first I chose rabbit, and then some PETA people hit us online and left a boatload of bad Google reviews, 1 star, and I was like, oh shit, what do I do? And it's just neurotic. Like some of those PETA people are wild.
Like the things that I don't even think about that you'd run into.
And it's Portland, right? Portland's a different lifestyle than I'm used to, for sure. Grew up in Idaho, and Idaho's like the Texas of the Northwest. So, I'm a freedom-based person. Like, live how you want. But yeah, so, got all those bad reviews. I'm like, damn, we're done. Like, this is screwed. I'm gonna have to shut everything down and rename the company.
Could they tell they're PETA people or not?
You could tell, yeah. Like, just so much emotional baggage in the review and stuff like that. I hadn't experienced our products or anything. But yeah, so I went to the rabbit people. They're like, oh, tough luck. Don't know how to help you. Went to the bird people. It's the same thing. Went to the chinchilla people, and they waged war. They report, like, these Facebook groups of 20,000 chinchilla people.
They, like, got your back.
Oh yeah, like they came, like, because we made some products. Chinchilla wasn't a big market at the time, but we made good products for chinchillas. So people liked it, and they liked that I was having conversations with them and talking to them and trying to learn from them, which I was doing in every market. But the chinchilla people like posted in all their Facebook groups, "Hey, go report all these bad reviews." All of them got removed.
Nice.
And it was like right then that I was like, okay, we're going chinchilla only. Yeah. Like, these people are awesome and so passionate, and just like they're not taken care of. So that was how we niched down to chinchilla.
So you niched down to chinchillas. This was probably, what was this, within the first year, or how long did that take?
Yeah, it was probably 9 months in.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you started turning a profit?
Not for a while.
Yeah.
Man, like, it was skating by. I had no idea what I was doing. I should have raised prices so much sooner than I started to over time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about kind of like that growth then. So you've got this business. How big's your team in manufacturing this? And then, like, how many SKUs did you whittle down to from 2000?
So we went down to 35 SKUs. Back at that time, actually, in year 2, 3, and 4, it was basically just me manufacturing things for 12 to 14 hours a day. Oh, yeah.
Jeez.
I moved the company from Portland back home to Idaho. Didn't like Portland and didn't know people there. And I had a support network back in Idaho. So moving a manufacturing company is not fun.
Right. Like, did your grandfather own the building?
No, we were renters. My lease was up. And then, OSHA came to Quality Cage. And, I don't have employees. Like, I had one employee at the time, and I was planning on moving in the next year or two, but they gave me like $10,000 in fines, and I'm like, no, like, I'm moving in 2 years. I'm not going to spend, I don't have 20 grand to spend to fix all these problems, much less pay them the $10,000 fine. So I just moved to Idaho the next month.
But I mean, isn't OSHA like a national thing, or?
Yeah, it's mostly state driven, but it is a federal program. Yeah.
But
in Portland, they're quite wild. It really depends on who you get that day. Really,
but it's stupid if you're the only employee doing all the work. Like, there's no reason.
Yeah, it was
find
ridiculous.
Yourself for the way you treat yourself.
It was ridiculous. But again, that's what you get.
Yeah, I feel like my buddy has a business in Washington State, and he seems to get a lot of like OSHA things, and I wonder how much of it is like competitors snitching on him. And
yeah, I think it was a disgruntled employee. Not sure. But in Idaho with the business for 3 years, I even called Idaho OSHA when I got there. Never heard from them ever once in 3 years. And then here in Texas, I've been here now 3 years and haven't heard anything from them. Safety is a huge portion of what we do. Like, we have safety meetings monthly to go over what needs to be fixed, and we fix them. So, it's hugely important. But at that time,
So what made you decide to move down to Texas from Idaho?
So Idaho is an amazing place to live. There is not a lot of labor workers there.
Okay.
I think I fired my entire team 3 times while I was there because I just couldn't get people to collaborate and work together well. There's a lot of great people in Idaho. It's a beautiful place, but I kept coming down to Austin to visit. On one trip, like, it was the beginning of a building being built, like a large warehouse, and I came back 3 months later and it was done. Back home in Idaho, that would have taken 18 months. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I got to be in where that energy is and where that, shit's getting done.
So you leasing up in Idaho?
Yep, leasing up in Idaho. We've got 10,000 square feet. Right now, we've got 7 employees. Last year we had 13 actually in the warehouse, but it was just so inefficient. So we went down to the core crew that I've had for a while and just got as efficient as possible. No, I restarted when I got here. And I moved here a week before COVID, man. So I get here, all the electrical work was supposed to be installed for all the machines. None of it was done. And then 3 days after I get here, with all my equipment, COVID drops, and now the electricians are like, "Oh yeah, we're not coming now." I'm like, "God, what the heck?"
I mean, I know running a business is not easy, but is there a way to plan for the move and then make sure your inventory levels are boosted or something? Or because you're essentially going to be offline for weeks.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I made a shitload of inventory back in Idaho. Then I loaded up all my equipment, and I still shipped that inventory from Idaho while I was moving all the equipment down here to Texas. So I was going back and forth every couple days.
You were doing it.
Yep. My family was helping me on the Idaho side a little bit, but yeah, it was very rough. That was the second time I moved the company. So I thought I'd learned everything the first time. No, it's not easy. We'll probably do one more move, hopefully, when I buy a building, and that'll be it.
And hopefully it's not cross country.
Yeah, no, across town.
Let's talk about running a business and manufacturing. I feel like not a lot of people have the gumption. To do both.
Yeah.
Is it a good idea? Or?
No, it's stupid, man.
Yeah.
You got to be a real masochist to get into manufacturing, I think. I mean, if you have money, you can hire the right people and it can work, Absolutely. And the beauty of manufacturing is there's no limit to how efficient you can be. You can lower your prices to manufacture infinite. That's the beauty. That's the competitive advantage. But it is so hard. You've got people, you've got safety, you've got right now, I think we have 150 products. We probably have 20,000 processes that all go into building those products. That's just the manufacturing. There's still marketing, there's still accounting and all that stuff. But the manufacturing, not for the faint of heart by any means. I grew up loving making things. Watching how it's made was my religion as a kid, and I've done beer brewing, wine making, cheese making. So I live to make things that make people happy. That's what I love. So, it's a core value for me, top core value. I know a bunch of people who've bought manufacturing businesses just for an asset. Cool. But it's very hard to run one. It's very hard to be the operator.
Yeah. I mean, because you're competing with Chinese manufacturers, I would assume.
Oh, for sure.
And they've got to be charging a tenth of what you're doing or.
Yeah. I mean, they're not, we have a ton of products. And we don't sell a lot of any of those. It's called high mix, low volume manufacturing. So we have a lot of SKUs, very little volume in all of those SKUs, really. And our growing the business comes from adding more SKUs. One SKU can add $3,000 a month in revenue. And that's, I want 100 more right now. Getting the systems and the culture of the people and getting them to learn how everything flows, it's insanely hard. When I was making cheese, that was easy. 1 million pounds of goat cheese in 1 year. Me and one other guy did it. It was the same thing repetitively, day in and day out. But my crew, they're making this, they're making that, they're making this. Some days, 6 months in, there's still new products that they haven't made yet.
Yeah.
So they're always learning.
How do you... I guess I want to learn a little more about the operations behind things.
Absolutely.
What is your expectation for the amount of inventory you keep?
I don't want inventory. Raw materials, I like to have
a week's worth?
I like
2
to
weeks?
None.
0. So on demand is the goal.
Yep. We carry about 60 days worth of raw materials. Outside of that, the only inventory we have sitting on the shelf are when somebody made the wrong product or a return came in. I don't want inventory.
So everything's on demand. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So you place an order on our website, we make it, and then we ship it.
How many components will make up the products that you produce?
Oh,
are we
I would say it's probably
hundreds?
10 components per product at
So
150 products right now. Yeah.
So it's few items can make tons of different.
Yeah,
options.
Yeah, exactly. But with the Chinchilla exercise wheel, right? That's one of our most popular products. That is made in sheet metal department. That is made in the welding and fabrication department. That is also made in the woodworking department. And then it all goes through powder coating process, and then it's all final assembled. So just in that one product alone, I mean, there's probably 150, 200 different processes, and we can make it in 15 to 20 minutes. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's all set up to, it took me a long time.
I thought powder coating takes hours to cure.
No, so painting is,
Right.
it takes forever. You got all the dry time. It's not even fully cured until like 2-3 weeks down the road. But powder coating, it's a dry plastic powder that you spray on it. It magnetizes to the metal. You bake it at 400 degrees for 10 minutes and you pull it out. By the time it's cool, it's done.
Yeah, 10 minutes.
Yeah. Non-toxic to animals too, which is the big benefit.
Yeah. And it's a nice, I end up on the YouTube rabbit hole.
Okay, yeah.
No pun intended. Speaking of YouTube, have you done any of that? Like, because that would be great content.
No.
Like people watching you build and make cages from scratch.
Yeah, so I've been fairly agnostic to video just because I haven't had the time to dedicate to it. So the way we built up what we have now is been through blogging, just text. So, if, like 300-400 people Google how high can a chinchilla jump every month. And so that's 300-400 potential leads by writing a simple blog and posting it to our website, and no competitors going after that. Why would any business write about how high a chinchilla can jump? So I just found all those long tail keywords that nobody looks at, or competitors aren't going to look at, and just wrote content. I didn't write it, but right, I think I wrote one blog in my life. It's still ranked number one.
I think it's like I haven't Googled YouTube for like cage making, but there's a story.
Yeah,
you have a cute little chinchilla, and you're like, let's build this chinchilla the perfect house.
Yeah,
and then you just like start drawing out. You have piece by piece. You show the composition of it. And then you put it in there, and it's like happy as can be is running around. The people who like to watch the manufacturing of things. Yeah. And then it's going to draw people who like animals and potentially have that. So it's more, I would say it's not middle funnel. It's definitely like top of funnel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's in the plan. Okay. Just haven't gotten to that yet.
Yeah. That's one of the beauties of manufacturing your own product.
Yeah.
Is like you have this ability to tell a story through your product.
Endless content. Yeah.
Yeah. So like the Peachy Babies people here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their videos are amazing.
It's like every week they have a new slime out, and then their content is revolved around that as well. So it's like, I know it's hard to do manufacturing, but like even in the marketing, like it gives you extra benefit.
Yeah.
Is your marketing been purely organic, or do you
a good majority? Surprisingly, even through the growth that we've had over the years, we still have a 40% customer return rate. 40% of our orders every week are return. So word of mouth has been honestly the best. I start interacting in the Facebook groups, talking to people. If I see somebody post we got our quality cage, I go and look at what they ordered and figure out what product they didn't order from us, and then I send it to them as a gift.
Oh, really?
That worked really well over the years. And then, that would turn into them posting 2 or 3 more times, and I'd send them a gift each time.
Yeah. Like, how much does that gift cost? And like, what is it?
Retail value, $50 to $70.
You're sending them a $70 gift?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that snowballed hard. I still do it in the chinchilla industry, but we're now branching out to other ones, and I haven't started that yet. Very soon though. But yeah, organics definitely.
Do you still do that, or do you have team members who?
I still do it. Yeah, I still do a lot of our customer service too. Our customer service is pretty difficult because it's a lot of animal oriented questions, and then people want, instead of a 30-inch wide cage, they want a 34-inch wide cage, stuff like that. So.
And will you do it for them, or you
sometimes
don't make it exact?
Sometimes it's difficult, right? So we have a standard size for our main cage. If we do a 32-inch wide, now we have to find a 2-inch wider box. So a lot of that, is difficult. It adds a lot more costs. We make our own boxes, so we have a CAD designer on our team, Caden, who will design a box. We'll cut it out on our. We call him Cajun because he's from Louisiana.
Okay. I like Caden because he does CAD design.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah. You can steal it from me.
Nice. I'll call him that when I get back.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so you've got your designer in-house, so you can do it on the fly. Is it really like if they're convincing and friendly, you're like, all right, I'll do it for you?
Yeah.
Or is it more of like, I can or can't produce this item?
It really depends on how much is in our queue, in our manufacturing queue, but also like what's the vibe I'm getting from this customer? Yeah. Are they going to change their mind 20 times? Then I'm just going to say no. If they know what they want, or they'll let us, take lead, then absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Could you build like build your own cage thing, like put in the parameters this wide by this height, kind of like a t-shirt on demand stuff?
Yeah, I tried that. I tried to implement that onto our website a couple years ago. It was going to end up costing a lot more than I expected. So I
for the
scrapped
development
it.
or
Yeah, for the development side of it. So I scrapped it. We'll probably reconvene on that in a couple years.
yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be done really well.
Yeah, I imagine that's like, I don't know what software solutions are out there, but they tend
There's
to
no
not-
good one.
There's no out of the box one.
There's no good one. Not one that like you can throw on your website and the customer 3D configures it themselves.
Right.
There are some furniture manufacturers that have some great ones, but they spent $250,000 developing them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so not there yet, but we'll get there.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, do you guys work beyond America? Have customers all over, or
Yeah, it's difficult to ship overseas
because it's a big product? isn't
Yeah, I mean, our biggest chinchilla cage, our most commonly ordered chinchilla cage, is 51 inches tall, 33 inches wide, and 4 inches deep when it's a box. So that
when
cage
it's
costs
not,
$400, but when we're shipping it to, say, Singapore, it's $900 a ship.
Yeah.
Some of those rich Singapore people still order it, but and then the negative part of it too is if it gets damaged in that transit, like I just lost so much money
Yeah.
because I can't get a shipping refund on a $900 shipment.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
guess you'd
almost
have to insure
impossible.
everything, right?
Yeah, so I try to stick to our smaller products going overseas, a lot to Canada, a lot to the UK, China even. We've shipped quite a few to China. So that's a compliment I'll take.
Yeah. I did a little sleuthing before you came on. You've got future cages for raccoons, rats.
There's a lot of weird pets that are out there, man.
Do you guys get a raccoon and build the cage? Like, do you do that kind of like product?
I mean,
R&D?
I go and I Google raccoon cages and I figure out what people have built, like, on Etsy or like they posted in a forum 20 years ago. And I just analyze and try to, I really use your skills of empathy and step into like, what is the animal going to do? Say I don't know the lifespan of a raccoon off the top of my head, but say they live for 25 years, what is all the things that are going to happen in those 25 years? Like when it gets to 22 years old, is it going to have a hip failure in its back leg? Like, how do we plan for that in the cage designing process? So I go very deep into that. And that's what I did with chinchillas. Okay, a chinchilla can live for 20 years. And the first thing to a person getting a chinchilla is Googling the question, what is a chinchilla?
Right.
It almost always starts out that way. And then you say it takes 9 months on average for somebody who decides to get a chinchilla to finally get one. And then you have 20 years of things that can happen, and how do we plan for all of those right from the start?
That's crazy. I mean, so you have to become an animal expert.
Yeah, in a way, it's going to be hard as we start launching into a bunch of new animals, but
Yeah, and
I can't retain all that info.
like you've avoided dogs, you've avoided cats.
Yeah, everybody
like,
does that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's no competitive advantage you feel like you can get in there.
We'll get to it at some point, but I want to take care of the animals that aren't being taken care of and they don't have the products that they need.
Yeah.
That's, the biggest, even like live animal traps, that's a big market, huge, massive, like huge in the US. But there's already a USA made company that is doing a really damn good job. I don't need to step on their toes. I'd rather collaborate with them and sell their
trap
product.
step on the toes.
Yeah. So
I'm sorry, man. I do rail so many conversations with my bad puns. Yeah, I mean, it's cool to see like how many opportunities you have and how like kind of niche down. Do you feel like there's been imitators or people who have been inspired by your workflow?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, somebody literally copied our chinchilla exercise wheel to the T. Right now it's 16 years old, so there's no protection on it or anything. Yeah. And they copied it to the T, started selling it on Amazon. They did pretty good, but they changed one little component that ended up screwing up their quality. I don't know, for a year and a half, they were doing great on Amazon, and then they just dropped off. There's been 5 or 6 companies that started making chinchilla wheels to copy the momentum we got from it, and they've all pretty much died out. It's kind of weird. I've never talked to any of them. I'd like to know why they decided not to make chinchilla wheels anymore.
Do you sell on Amazon as well? Or
I'm an agnostic of Amazon. We don't do FBA, so we ship everything out of our own facility.
Right, because you're doing it on demand.
We're doing it on demand. I don't want to build inventory. Also, Amazon was, some people would like buy a new chinchilla wheel. They'd return their 10-year-old wheel, and then Amazon would ship that to the next customer when we were doing FBA. And it's like, okay, that looks really bad on us. Yeah. Like, I can't let that happen anymore.
Is Amazon the primary driver, or?
No, Amazon's about 25-30% of our business. A good majority of it is through our Shopify site and then some wholesale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your biggest regret with manufacturing?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would say, so we used to outsource some processes like powder coating, and I put off doing it because I didn't need more processes. But one of my powder coating suppliers screwed up massively, totally screwed me over. I probably lost 40 grand. And so the next day I bought a powder coating system off of Craigslist. Never done it in my life. Didn't know anything about it. Started jumping in all the Facebook groups and learning about it. And I really wish I did that sooner.
Yeah.
Because that has now become a very large competitive advantage to where, if you want a fuchsia colored cage or a bronze colored cage to match something in your, your kitchen cabinet handhold things, then, we can do that. So that's been a major upsell. Plus, it's just faster. I used to send 100 units to a powder coater, wait a week, get them back, and 30 of them are damaged and 70 of them are fine. So I had a huge amount of waste. I hated that. But yeah, so I wish I insourced those processes faster.
Yeah. Are there any that you wish you didn't do in-house?
No. Yeah. We're even making our own machines now. Cadden. we buy wire and coils, and a wire straightening machine was like 10 grand, and I showed Caden hey, do you think we can build something like this? He was like, yeah, I got it, and started he just started designing it in CAD and then building it, and we bought some machining equipment to get it done, and that just doing that, I think we've spent $1,200 building it.
Yeah.
And it saved us a lot of money over time.
Dude,
a lot of money and a lot of waiting on suppliers to get the wire straightened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm coming by your place.
You're welcome anytime.
Yeah, I gotta see it. Where can people buy some cages? Where can they
so qualitycage.com.
Good domain.
No cats and dogs yet, but any other weird animals y'all got, I'd love to chat and help
yeah, apparently
solve a problem.
Apparently, if you message him, he's going to make you a custom cage too. So just mention e-commerce conversation.
If you're not a pain in the ass. No. And then on Twitter, you can follow me, Amagi, AMAGI, Josh.
Yeah, all one word, no underscore or anything.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. This has been another e-commerce conversations. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, man. Cheers. Keep on growing.